Welcome back to another explainer. Now today, we are bringing some major energy because we are jumping headfirst into the hilarious, absolutely chaotic, and, well, wonderfully buttery world of a very special porcine wonder. Her name? Mercy Watson. And let me tell you, if you think taking a family pet to the movies is just a simple Saturday night outing, you are about to have your mind completely blown. We're going to break down exactly how one adorable animal's snack obsession turned a quiet drive-in theater into a scene of absolute pandemonium. I mean, right off the bat, just look at this hilariously absurd situation. We've got a very happy, very round pig with a giant, empty, bottomless bucket of popcorn just firmly stuck on her head. Like, how on earth did we get here? How does a pig end up wearing movie theater concessions as a hat? Well, this kind of sets up the whole delightful snowballing chaos we're diving into today. Let's retrace the steps of this culinary crime. Act 1. The Promise of Butter. You know, every great disaster starts with a really simple, innocent catalyst, so let's dive right into this. Meet Mr. and Mrs. Watson. They're the proud residents of 54 Decawoo Drive, and of course, this is their beloved pig, Mercy. So Mr. Watson gets what he thinks is a brilliant idea. He wants to take the whole family to the Bijou Drive-In to catch a movie called When Pigs Fly. Now, Mrs. Watson, she thinks this is incredibly inspiring, but Mercy, actually scratch that. Mercy is entirely ignoring them. She's fast asleep, she doesn't care about movies, she definitely doesn't care about flying pigs. That is, right up until Mr. Watson reads the theater's ad out loud. He mentions that the Bijou proudly serves real butter on bottomless buckets of popcorn. And wow, the second Mercy hears real butter, her ears prick right up. The text actually puts it perfectly, and I just have to read this directly. She particularly loved butter on hot toast, but she would take butter any way she could get it. Honestly, this right here, this is the match that lights the powder keg. This singular, totally adorable obsession with butter is the real catalyst for this entire escalating adventure. Mercy has absolutely no idea what a movie is, but she definitely knows what all-you-can-eat butter means. She is fully on board. Act 2. Arrival at the Bijou. So the family loads up the pink convertible, grabs their quirky neighbors, and heads out. Which brings us to the obvious question. Are pigs actually allowed at the movies? I mean, it's exactly what you're probably wondering, and it's exactly what the ticket seller at the Bijou is wondering when the Watsons pull up with Mercy just casually chilling in the back seat. The Watsons, of course, don't see a pig. They see a porcine wonder. But the rest of the world, yeah, they see things a little differently. This brings us to that ticket seller, Beatrice Lapaglione. When Mr. Watson confirms that, yes, they have a porcine wonder in the car, Beatrice just blinks. She looks at the pig, she looks at the Watsons, and she just says, wonky. Wonky in the extreme. It's such a fantastic summary of the comedic contrast at the heart of the whole story. The Watsons' totally normalized view of their pet just clashes instantly with the utter confusion of the general public. And you can see that exact moment right here. Beatrice pulls her glasses down just to get a better look, completely in disbelief as she processes the wonky sight of a pig pulling up for a cinematic experience. Now, she doesn't explicitly have a rule against porcine wonders, so she lets them in, but she immediately senses that things are taking a turn for the bizarre. Act 3. A Pig on a Mission. Well, Beatrice was totally right to be suspicious. The family gets parked, the movie's about to start, and bam, the inciting incident takes over. And by inciting incident, I mean the heavenly scent of movie theater snacks. Mercy's snout goes straight up in the air. While the humans are getting settled in the car, Mercy catches it. A wonderful smell, an incredible smell. The scent of real butter wafting through the cool night air straight from the concession stand. It completely captivates our cute protagonist. It is literally everywhere, and it's driving her wild. I mean, is there anything more heavenly than being hot on the trail of true butter? Mercy definitely didn't think so. She is now a pig on a mission. She leaps directly out of the convertible, entirely abandoning her human family, and just trots off into the dark drive-in to hunt down the source of that buttery goodness. She is laser-focused. Act 4. Hilarious cinematic chaos. Now that leap out of the car launches us right into the climax of our story, where Mercy's innocent little snack break escalates into a full-blown, multi-character drive-in disaster. There is a hilarious total disconnect between the two realities happening simultaneously here. On one side, the moviegoer's perspective. A small child suddenly screams in the dark, "Papa, Papa, a monster is eating my popcorn!" People are panicking, a man is forcefully shoving a wild beast out of his car window. But on the other side, Mercy's perspective, what does she think she's doing? She just thinks she's having a wonderful, crunchy, buttery snack. She's just visiting car after car, finding big buckets of popcorn, and helping herself. Let's map out how quickly this snowballs. Stage 1, Mercy starts happily munching on everyone's popcorn, which leads to literal screaming and fainting in the cars. Stage 2, Animal Control, who just happens to be there on a date, by the way, spots the suspect. Stage 3, a concession worker hears all the screaming and decides to try and lasso the quote-unquote monster. And Stage 4, Beatrice, back in the ticket booth, decides things are so wonky, she needs to dial the fire department. Notice how utterly out of proportion the human response is to a single, very happy, hungry pig. Let's look a bit closer at some of these characters adding to the chaos. Take Leroy Ninker. He's a reformed thief working at the concession stand, serving up those bottomless buckets. But his real dream is to be a cowboy. So when he hears people screaming about a monster, he realizes, hey, this is his big moment. He grabs his rope, yells yippee-ah-oh, and decides to use his lasso skills to save the drive-in. Then, at the exact same time, we have Francine Poulet from Animal Control. She's on a date in a truck nearby, and they spot Mercy trotting happily by with her snout in the air. Francine has dealt with pigs before. She actually considers them the wiliest clients of all, so she immediately reaches into the back of her truck, grabs her animal net, and joins the chase. It just adds a whole other layer of wacky pandemonium. So let's just put this entire cast of pandemonium together. We've got the popcorn victims screaming and fainting in their cars. We have an off-duty police officer grabbing his bullhorn to keep the peace. We've got Francine Poulet sprinting through the theater wielding an animal net. We have Leroy Ninker swinging his lasso, and Beatrice at the ticket booth calling in the fire trucks. And the punchline to all of this? Francine accidentally nets the police officer, Leroy accidentally lassos Francine, and it turns into this massive, tangled, shouting mess. Act 5, the toasty resolution. Okay, let's take a quick breath. We need to bring the energy back down to a warm, cozy level, because how on earth do you untangle a lassoed animal control officer, a netted policeman, and a drive-in full of terrified moviegoers? Well, the fire truck pulls up, sirens wailing, lights flashing. The firemen Ned and Lorenzo step out to this magnificent popcorn-flying climax. Mercy is mid-leap, popcorn is everywhere, the situation is completely, hopelessly out of control. Lorenzo remarks that the movies make people crazy, but a bystander corrects him. I think the pig is making people crazy. But here is the catch. Lorenzo recognizes Mercy. He knows her, and he has a secret weapon. Get ready for the hilarious anticlimax here. The firemen don't break out the fire hoses. They don't use their giant ladders. They don't try to tackle her. Nope, they simply run up to Mercy and offer her exactly what she loves most in the world. Ned asks, "How's about some toast?" And Lorenzo adds, "How's about some toast with a great deal of butter?" And just like that, Mercy stops running. She sits down because, well, to Mercy, toast always sounds like an excellent idea. And that brings us to our wrap-up. The Watsons are just overjoyed to find their darling pig. The firemen are hungry, so they all head back to the Watsons' house. The happy Watsons, the quirky neighbors, everyone just gathers around. Sure, no one actually got to see the end of one pig's fly, but as Mr. Watson notes, sitting around eating hot, buttery toast together, that's the happiest possible ending they could ask for. So, the really crucial takeaway here is this. Sometimes all it takes to stop a completely wonky, totally out of control disaster isn't a bullhorn or a lasso or an animal net. It's just a little bit of comfort food, knowing your audience and applying a healthy dose of understanding. Ned and Lorenzo knew the key to the pig's heart, and it literally saved the day. Which leaves us with this final thought for you to chew on. If hot toast was enough to solve the great Bijou drive-in disaster of popcorn eating, lasso throwing, and siren wailing, what hilariously wonky chaos do you think is going to happen the next time Mercy Watson catches the scent of warm butter on the breeze? Thanks for joining me on this incredibly fun explainer today. Keep your popcorn close, and I'll see you next time.